And there's some more chairs here. I'll bring a couple around for us. It's just what she wants.
Are you getting the... So you want
Now, you say your words and answer anything. Answer anything. Right? This would be nice if you say something. Video, you say, can you
Very nice shot, especially if you're going to stand there.
No, we're just going to stay
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for attending. It's a little bit after 1. I'd like to welcome you all here, and I'd like to hand over to our club patron, Craig Farrell, who will get the ball rolling. What we'll try and do this afternoon is get through this within an hour if we can, but we'd like you to stay on and enjoy the hospitality that's organised by Kerry and his staff.
Thanks, Steve. Firstly, I'd like to once again welcome you all here. It's good to see strong turnout at the club rooms on a Sunday afternoon for what's a pretty important day for the club. Important comment to make is about the jumpers that have been displayed here. They've all been donated to the club and they're all owned by the club. They're the club's property. So thank you to all the people that have made those tremendous and very generous donations to the club. It's a great thing to have a lot of our local history displayed around here for everyone to enjoy. I think I have... I'll introduce the special guest first, I think. I'd like to welcome the Mayor of the Derwent Valley, Michelle Tracoulis. Jim Watson, long-serving club secretary, I think. Nita Davey, who's joined us today. Nita, from all the way up from up the hills, come down. She's Kathy's mum, so good to see you, Nita. And Councillor Matt Hills also here. And Jason Taylor, who I believe now has a role to play.
Yes, Jason.
Jason was probably not aware of the role he had to play.
So this document is the official document. It's organised by the King, given the King's sanction today. That's Dean King, of course.
The only king.
The only King. This document records the presentation of the jumpers to the club, and so I'll ask Jason to present this certificate documentation to our club patron.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Jason. Accepted on behalf of the club, so that proves that it's all official now, so no one can take any claim to title. Just before I hand back to the club president, I would like to acknowledge the good work of all involved today. Kerry Ransley, of course, who does a great job with our club. Well done, Kez. The New Norfolk Old Players Association, who are such an integral part of this club. Thank you very much. Matt Smith, Paul Jarvis, Dean Ransley and Gris Britton and all others who have helped put this together today. Thank you very much. So I'll finish my bit as Jason's finished his bit, so I'll hand back to the club president.
Thank you, Craig. It's a great turnout. It's good to see everybody here today. What the format of the afternoon will be, we'll have a quick chat about each of the jumper awardees, if you like. And I'll ask a couple of our distinguished guests to come forward and just have a chat about those ones concerned. I think that the presence today of all your people here just shows the strengths of the club and the history of the club as well. A few apologies we've got. I'll quickly go through those. It's a tough weekend, being a long weekend for people to make it here, but Brian Mitchell, local MP, or federal MP, Claire Chandler, MP as well, George Kalis from the SFL, and David O'Byrne, who's the president of the SFL. He's unfortunately unable to make it today, but he sends his best regards. Robin Nossiter is not feeling all that well, so one of our life members can't make it today, and he was going to be part of the presentations. And a few of those that have helped out, Paul Jarvis and Dean Ransley, have got some other commitments. We've also got an apology from Kathy Foster, who's in Canada, and we're just trying to set up a video link with that part of the world if we can, but it's great to see her mum and sister here today. We have a little bit of entertainment a little bit later on with Hannah and Carly, who will be singing some club songs up in the corner there, and we'd ask you to stay on board and have a listen to those guys. What we'll do, what the format is, we'll just have a little chat about the individual jumper awardees. We've got some different people that want to have a bit of a chat about them. We won't let it roll on too long, and who can we nominate? Jack Hastie's over there, and if anyone goes more than 5 minutes, he's going to come up and kneecap them. Okay. First one we're going to talk about today is Kathy Foster. Now, Kathy, well-known local lady, went to school here. Her family were an integral part of the Derwent Valley. It's great to see her mum here today. Her mum just turned 21 yesterday, so it's a birthday. No, it's good to see Nita here and the rest of the family. It's just unfortunate that Kathy couldn't make it. Kathy has been one of the most consistent and successful players in the history of Tasmanian basketball. Kathy played locally here before she was picked up by talent scouts, if you like, and went on to play in the Olympics. Kathy's got a marvellous record as far as her playing career is concerned. She's been a mentor to many, many basketballers in Tasmania and still continues to help out in that field. When she left New Norfolk when she was pirated away from New Norfolk to play with the Australian team, first game was in China in 1981. She was on the starting five, and she maintained that status through most of that international competition. Some of the highlights in the international career: she played in the World Championships in both Russia and Brazil, where she was Australia's highest point scorer. She competed in the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, winning gold with the Australian team in New Zealand, and at the 1983 Commonwealth Championships. Kathy's awards are memorable and noteworthy, and I think she's a true hero from the Derwent Valley. I just asked her sister Maury to come and say a few words on behalf of the family, and Kathy, ably assisted by this.
So I've got a few words written by our other sister, Lynn. So as you heard, Kathy's in Canada at the moment, and I'm sure she's very disappointed that she can't be here today to personally thank everyone involved with this recognition of her basketball career. As family, we're really proud of her sporting achievements, but actually we're more proud of the fact that she remained so friendly, humble and approachable, and never lost her connection with the Derwent Valley. Kathy started playing basketball when she was in grade 7 at Norfolk High School, and at that stage she was also a very talented swimmer. Kathy's basketball skills developed quickly and she was soon selected in representative teams. At one stage, her and Phil moved to South Australia, so she had more opportunities to play consistently at a high level. Her mum, dad and siblings were all glued to the TV when she played with distinction at the Olympics in Los Angeles in 1984. It's an honour for our whole family that Kathy's achievements are now here on public display so that everyone who comes into the Valley Sports Bar can see her framed playing top and read the summary of her career. So thank you to all of the organisers.
Okay. Just on a side note, as Kathy's lifelong friends, we just wanted to I wanted to make mention that Kathy received 3 MVPs in the national women's basketball team, which is probably equal to 3 Brownlow medals in the AFL. So it's pretty good achievement and unheard of, really. Plus, she's also the only Tasmanian so far to be inducted into the Australian Basket Hall of Fame. A true New Norfolk champion. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that. That's marvellous recognition for one of our local heroes. And my only claim to fame is that I played with an Olympian, or trained with an Olympian, when Kathy was going through some early stages of development in the basketball area. She had to train with the men's team to get a bit of tough love, if you like. But I was fortunate enough to train under a fellow called Don Hanson, and Kathy played with us. And the first couple of minutes we were very, very tentative with having a lady train with us. But after about 2 minutes, we just knew that she was a tough cookie. So my claim to fame is that I played with Olympian. Yes. Thanks very much. So recognition of Kathy Foster, a great Tasmanian, great sportsman, I suppose sportswoman, and we congratulate the family being here today. Kathy Foster. We've got a few others we'll try and get through. Steve Dixon, one of our board members and past president of the club, he's going to have a little chat about one of the local lads who did pretty well for himself in his football career, Peter Hudson. Stephen?
Yep.
Right, thank you, Steve. Peter Hudson was born on the 19th of January 1946, which was just by the by, was a pretty good year. Any other 46s here? I know there's one up the back. There's 3 or 4, the cream of the crop, the first of the baby boomers. But I'll continue. Peter's father, Bob, had played football with New Norfolk and A&M before coaching country sides. Lackland 51 to 55, Molesworth 56, Upper Derwent 58, 62 winning premierships in 52, 61, 62. So that's mentioned because Pete had a pretty good tutor in his father. In his early days, Peter played soccer with the New Norfolk State School team before switching to Australian rules. And we have John Windsor here. Is Wins here? He's out doing the sausages, but Wins was captain of that side that played off, the soccer side that played off in Launceston. I'm not sure whether they won or not, but up on the statue details, there's a picture of that particular side. Peter then played with the Australian Newsprint Mills Youth Club in the Derwent Valley Youth Football Association, winning the club's under 15 best and fairest award in 1958. Peter played in the club's under 17 team in 1959. He continued to play school football and in 1962, as well as Saturday morning school matches. And there's a few here that played with him. I know 80 did and played with him at school. Matches he played with the Upper Derwent Football Club in the Southern Districts Football Association during the afternoon, where he kicked in excess of 120 goals for for the season, which is pretty amazing. Peter moved to New Norfolk to the senior side in 1963, where he showed vast talents and won the club and TFL goal-kicking awards for the next 4 seasons. He also represented the league and the state. He played 75 games with New Norfolk and kicked 378 goals. If someone could do their division and work out what the best per game, it's pretty good. He won the club's Best and Fairest award in 1965. Peter, as we know, went to Hawthorn in 1967, and the rest is history. He did not return to play with New Norfolk. He's been back in the bar here, of course, a number of times, more than welcome. Look, the 2 personal things I remember about Peter, and being the same age, is, and I don't know whether anyone else can remember it, is they were either playing Fitzroy or North Melbourne, and Peter chased some bloke that had a lead of about 70 yards on him, and he just kept at him, and the bloke in front of him, you remember it, Hadley? No. Might have been you. No. Chased this bloke, the bloke was bouncing it and thought he had plenty of time, and then towards the end of it, a missed bounce. Peter caught him after about 75 yards, caught him, grabbed the ball, headed back towards his goal and kicked the goal. But if ever coaches want to show just for persistence and don't give up, that should be one of them. The other one I remember, and I wish to mention about Peter, is when unfortunately he wasn't playing for us, he was playing for Glenorchy. I think it was against Clarence in a grand final on North Hobart with a crowd of about 20,000 plus. And he took a mark going against the pack. He took a mark going backwards, if you can understand that, with the pack coming towards him, and it was just absolute courage. But it's a privilege for me to say these few words on behalf of Peter, and thanks to Matt and all the others that have organised this dedication. And I'll hand back to you, Steve.
Peter Hudson. Thanks, David. I'll call on Headley now, if that's okay. Headley's going to just chat about one of our other local heroes, and he's going to be ably assisted by Grundle. Thanks, Headley.
Yeah, Grundle just put this on me this afternoon. So, I'll read out what I was given here about Jeff, so you know what his story was, and then I'll just say a few words after that. Jeff was born on the 18th of August 1936. His father had played football with New Norfolk. Jeff showed heaps of promise as a schoolboy and represented Tasmania in the Schoolboys Carnival 1950 and 51. Was vice-captain in 1950 and played both years as a fullback. He played with the Norfolk State Old School Boys, under-19s in 52, 53 and 54, before advancing to the Norfolk senior team. He played one senior game in 1954. He quickly developed over the next 4 seasons, playing 61 games as well as representing Tasmanian Football League. He was soon recognised as the best fullback in the state. He first represented Tasmania in 1957 and then in the 1958 National Carnival. Jeff transferred to Fitzroy in 1959, and even though he suffered a shoulder injury, he managed 19 games during 1959 and 1960. He returned to Tasmania in 1961 as captain coach of the Community Football Club for 3 years and licensee of the Community Hotel. I reckon you would have enjoyed that. The club won the Huon Football Association Premiership in 1961, with Jeff being adjudged as the best and fairest player in the association. He also represented the Huon Football Association during his 3-year period. Due to his cunningness on the football ground, he was nicknamed the Swamp Fox. Jeff returned to Norfolk in 1964 and played 60 senior games over the next 3 seasons. He won the Norfolk Best and Fairest in 1964. He also represented Tasmania in 1965, making a total of 9 state games during his career. In 1967, Jeff was appointed captain coach of the Norfolk Reserves, with the club winning the Tasmanian Football League Reserves Premiership the first league premiership won by a Norfolk team. While still as captain coach of the reserves in 1968, Jeff was promoted to the senior side as full forward for the last 12 games of the season, with the team winning its first TFL premiership as well as the state premiership. He retired at the end of the season but remained around the club as a committee man and then coached the under-17 team in 1976 and 77, with the club winning the 1976 premiership. Jeff passed away suddenly in 1982. Pretty good resume, that. I just want to say about Jeff, when I first came here all those years ago, I was only going to be here for a year or so, but Jeff was had just been made the coaching in Norfolk, and I remember me, Tony Adams, we were all fairly young blokes, we all had hair in them days too, Ada, yeah. But Jeff took me under his wing because I came from Queensland, and they reckon, we weren't very good up there in Queensland but at that stage, but Jeff persisted with me, was always there to talk to, because living away from home, no one down here really in that regard, and Jeff was always there to have a talk and a natter about footy and have a beer and a laugh. He was a great man. I love the old Swamp Fox, so yeah, he deserves this accolade, and I'll just get Graham to say a few words.
Thanks, Hedley. Yeah, it's a pretty proud moment for Dad. He'd have been overwhelmed by all this, and just want to say thank you to Kerry and Matty Smith and the old players in the club rooms and Stephen Barnforth, and thanks for all turning up, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, gents. True hero, Jeff Hill, there's no doubt about it. It's a pity, however, I think that we've organised a video link through to Sue in Queensland. She couldn't make it here today, and she was pretty keen to be involved with the ceremony, so best of luck, Sue. Yeah. Next I'll call Adi Graham, again a board member and past president of the club that's been around for many years. Adi's going to have a bit of a chat about Graham Hitchin.
It's a pleasure to be here today to talk about Graham Hitchin. Graham was born on the 18th of January 1960. His family originated from Lackland. His mother, one of the Graham family, many of which represented the Norfolk District Football Club. He made his debut as an 18-year-old with the Norfolk District Football Club in 1978. And over the following 2 years he played 58 senior games. He started as a centre player, but wasn't long before he became a very handy backman and won the TFL the Best First Year Award. Graham went on to play for Fitzroy Club in 1981, and over an injury-interrupted career of 7 years, he played 77 games with the club. During one of his games, playing the back pocket, he took a screamer, and he was a great mark, and he was in a contender for the mark of the year. Unfortunately now, Graham resides in Queensland, but thanks to a great player from the Norfolk Football Club. Thank you.
Top job. It's good to see his brother here today too, another champion for Norfolk and the family. I'd ask Ray Aitchison to come up now if that's okay. Ray's going to just have a little bit of a chat about a couple of players perhaps. No. One.
Where's your list?
That's it.
Okay, I've been asked to speak about Jason Taylor, who's here. Hi, Jason. And if I've got it wrong, tell me later. Jason was the son of Noel and Pam Taylor and was born on the 23rd of September 1968, 2 days after his father had played in Norfolk's first TFL Premiership team. Jason showed much promise in school football and developed through the ranks. He played with the Norfolk under-17 team and won the club and TFL Best and Fairest Award in 1985. Advancing to the under-19 team as captain in 86, He again won the club and the TFL Best and Fairest Awards. He also made his senior debut in 1986, playing 4 senior and 2 reserve games, playing another 18 games in 1987. Jason, I don't know where he went in 88 because I haven't got him listed, but Jason returned to New Norfolk in 1989, playing 17 games. He then went to Fitzroy Football Club for the 1990 and 91 season and played 7 games. He again returned to New Norfolk during the 91 season and played another 14 games, winning the club Best and Fairest Award and narrowly missing out on winning the William Leach Medal. His club tally is 53 senior and 2 reserve games. In 1992 he transferred to the Hawthorn Club, where over the next 5 years he played 80 games before moving to Collingwood Football Club in 97 and playing 4 more games. He mostly played as an on-baller or centre-half forward. Thank you.
It's great to have Jason here today. If any of those facts seem a little bit fictional, cross-check with Jason. And it's good to see the family here today. Sisters and Mum, I think, is here as well. So, oh, there she is over there. Always a stalwart of the club as well. Scotty Doreen, where's Craig? Here he is. Craig, a board member.
Yeah, this will be short. Scotty Doreen. Scotty was born on the 20th of October 1972. He started with New Norfolk under 19 team in 1989 before advancing to the senior team and winning the Best First Year Player Award. During his 4 seasons at New Norfolk, Scott played 68 senior games, mostly as a wingman or back pocket player. In 1993 he moved to the Sydney Football Club, and over the next 4 seasons he played 50 games with the Swans. After he retired from the Swans, he did not return to New Norfolk. But I'd like to congratulate Scott and his induction into the Wall of Fame. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. We're getting through. I know that I'm not qualified to talk on Noel Squizzy Taylor, and I think if there's anyone here that would like to at least acknowledge Squiz, read his story, I'd feel honoured if someone else from the family or maybe Jason. Thank you, Jason. Well done. Come on. Come up here, Liz. Come on up. Come and stand next to it. Give him a bit of support.
To be fair, I'm a little bit teary just at the moment, so come up and give us a hand. Look, I'd just like to say before I read that, we're all super proud to have Dad up there, and to be next to him is a great honour. A lot more I want to say, but I'm struggling to hold it together.
Well done.
Noel Taylor. Noel was born on the 17th of March 1943. His father, Cliff, had played 10 games with Geelong in 1938 and later played with North Hobart and New Norfolk, with a period as coach with the latter team. Noel was given the nickname Squizzy and sometimes Running Bear, due to singing that song many times out in this room with a big Congo line of people. Noel came to notice playing with the A&M youth team, the Valley Youth Football Association, where he was runner-up to the Best and Fairest in the under-17 team in 1958, with the team winning the premiership. Also in that team was Boy Wilton and Peter Hudson. Noel again played with the A&M club in 1959, with the club finishing on the bottom of the ladder. He also played with the New Norfolk under-19 team in 1959 and 1960. He first played senior football with the New Norfolk Football Club, 1961, and over the next 4 seasons tallied 63 senior and 5 reserve games. Noel was enticed to play with the Hawthorn Football Club in 1965 and played one senior game. And he tells the story he kicked a goal from the middle of the MCG, apparently. I don't know if he was in that game. Then returned to New Norfolk for 1966 because Mum got homesick and got pregnant with this one. That's why they come. That's the reason they come home, apparently. Noel played the next 9 seasons with New Norfolk, totalling 214 senior, 37 reserve games. He was a member of New Norfolk's first Tasmanian Football League Premiership in 1968. And I think he missed my birth 2 days later. Mum, is that true? But he made up for it, don't worry about that. Most of his games were player at full back, where he was renowned for his prodigious kicking with the ball, often reaching the centre with his big left foot drop kicks. After retiring from league football, Noel had a stint coaching Mangalore and filled many positions in team management, administration. Look, he was the runner, he was chairman of selectors, he was half coach sometimes, he was bouncer out here, and he would clean the club rooms if he had to as well. So he really did serve the club his whole life, basically. After a period of illness, he passed away in 2019. Thanks, guys.
Fitting tribute to one of our heroes and legends. I'll ask Cameron Clayton to come up if he will, and sorry, he looks a bit like it sometimes. Brendan Clayton will come through and have a bit of a chat about his brother. Thank you. Kerry, Matthew, what you've done here, you've done a beautiful job, for our football club. Well done. And this is Harry Clayton. This is my little grandson. What I can say about Cameron is, I remember when I was young, he was 15 and a half, he played for the Tasmanian schoolboy side under 16. Harry Jenkins and Alan Swob come to our place to sign him up because he made the All-Australian side and he was vice captain of the Tasmanian side. I haven't got any right side, this is only what I know. Because Ben Shaw was going to do it for me. So they come over and they signed him up and he left our house at 16 and a half. And he played for Essex Heights under 17s. And he kicked 15 goals out of the centre at a 16 and a half year old. And that was Ray Slut Jordan. And then Tom Oakley said, we've got someone special here. And at 17 and a half, he played in Richmond's 74 grand final side at 17 and a half years of age, under Tom Hafey, in front of 108,000 people on MCG. Sat on the bench with big Wale Roberts. And after he finished with Richmond, played 57 games for Richmond, and in the grand final, he went on to play for Melbourne under Carl Dittrich. Everyone know Carl Dittrich, in my era. And then after unsuccessful time with Melbourne, Kevin Sheedy wanted a harden up man, and he recruited Cameron to Essendon, and he played in Essendon's 84 losing grand final side and sat on the bench there, and then that's when Hawthorn won it in 85, 86, 87. And then he retired at an age of 28 with a back injury. There's one story I've got to tell you. They said to Mum and Dad, if Cameron made the senior grand final side for Richmond, we'll fly the family over. And then Dad said, yeah, but I've got 11 siblings. And then they said, oh, well, just we'll fly you and Jess over there. Which they had, so we got all billed out to everyone in New Norfolk while Mum and Dad went over for the grand final. And he got the nickname Rattler. He's, when he went played with Essendon, the nickname Rattler got because back in them days, you can't touch anyone in football now, as we know, slings and bumps and everything like that. Dick Medico lined Alan Stoneham out for Essendon on the MCG. So Sheedy quietly said to Cameron, we've got to get a bit of payback here.
and in front of 75,000 people at MCG. Essendon's home game, 50,000 on the centre wing at the MCG. Cameron ran through Domenico and knocked him clean out. You know, good hip and shoulder, wasn't dirty, but them sort of bumps today, as we know, they get 4 or 5 weeks. And as today, Domenico say it was his best hit he's ever had in, you know, VFL football. Anyway, he had a good career, and thank you. His claim to fame is Bruce Dool. As we know, I barracked for Carlton. I've never barracked for Richmond, but I know that it was Carlton. We're all Carlton, and another claim to fame was Dool. We played on the halfback flank for Carlton. He took his headband off, and little Tony Bahagia. Next minute, they were all trying to find Bruce Dool's headband, and little Tony Bahagia for Essendon threw it over the boundary, and old Dool is just completely going off his head, and old Cameron was ducking and weaving, and there was punches going. All he wanted was his headband, but if anyone knew Bruce Dool back in them days, he was a hard man. As I love Carlton, he was a hard man. Anyway, it's great to see all this memorabilia with everyone, and it's nice to see everyone back at what I call the football club. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. And Cameron couldn't make it here today. He was down a week or so ago, and he was pretty impressed with the jumper and the way it was displayed here. So Cameron sends his best wishes. I think we're down to the last one now, and this one, I'm not sure whether Ray wants to come up and have a chat about this one or no. Barry? Come on, Barry. Yeah. That's good. Come on, Barry. Okay. All right, this is probably one of... Barry, are you coming? No, okay. This is probably one of our oldest ones, and before I chat about Jeff Barwick, I just make a point that in no way these jumpers and jerseys we're seeing up here today are everyone that should be recognised from the Doohan Valley. This is just a start. There's a lot of world-class sportsmen, sportswomen that have come from the Valley, and over the next few years we hope that we can get more and more of this recognition donated to the club that will be here for posterity. So if anybody has got somebody in their family or they know of someone that's competed at the elite level, please let us know. We know we'll get a bit of stick for not having someone up there, but this is a start. So if you've got someone within your family who has got a jumper that they use when they represented Australia or Tasmania or in whatever field, we're happy to accept a donation of the jumper into the Hall of Fame, if you like it here. I was going to talk quickly about Jeff Barwick. Jeff is Barry Barwick, and Barry and Jan have been loyal supporters and sponsors of our club for many, many years. So the Barwick name is somewhat synonymous with the Norfolk Football Club, there's no doubt about it. Jeff was born in 1919, so he's probably our oldest recognised jumper donors, if you like, in this area. He was an Australian rules footballer who played with Hawthorn in the VFL. Now, back in those days, that was a pretty mean feat for someone from Tasmania to represent the VFL back in the early stages. His first, he played 19 games, he kicked 14 goals. Now, some of these unsung heroes are just that, they're unsung heroes. Excuse me. And there's probably a lot around like the likes of Jeff Barwick. If you just take a bit of time to have a look at the photo, and one thing that sticks in my mind is the ties that they had to wear in those days. It's come a long way from what they do nowadays. You don't see jackets and ties on representative teams, but I think that's a special memento up there, and the football photo shows Jeff and his team, and I think that that's a fitting recognition for someone who has represented the sport at the elite level. So Jeff Barwick, we take our hat off to you, and I think you get the accolade for being the oldest recognised person in the group there today. So thanks Barry and Jan for
providing that to us. It's marvellous. So I think we got everyone? Yes. I think that just about wraps up the presentation, but I just will take a minute to acknowledge that these things just don't happen without the support of a number of people. And we've already mentioned about Kerry and Maddie Smith, who have been instrumental behind the scenes in making this happen. There's more and more that we can do for the club, and we've been seeking support and help. It's great to see the families back here again. The Taylors, synonymous with the club rooms. Get them back here. The Claytons, the names that we could use could go on and on and on. But I think we're stepping in the right direction as far as building a bit of unity back with the club. The culture's changing, even though our success on the field is not all that hot this year, but we're going through a rebuilding stage. We're working pretty hard to get our club back in order, and we don't know what the future will be as far as the AFL, TFL, SFL, whatever you're going to call it. So we just want to be ready and armed for when the word comes down from the AFL gods how the new season will progress. It's good to see a couple of the juniors here, and these boys are going to be helping us out with selling some programs at the game from here on in. And I want you to support these young fellows when they come around trying to sell their programs or sell our programs at the games. It's good to see the juniors involved, and that's one area we've got to work really hard on developing the juniors. There's not much more I can say apart from we have got a little bit of entertainment up the back there with Hannah and Carly will be coming back in a moment. And I think one of the challenges that Matthew Smith has given them, that they have to sing all the club songs that are represented here. So that'll be a challenge, but I'll be interested to hear whether they can do that. One quick thing before we conclude, I just asked the Mayor to come forward and say a few words. As you know, we rely heavily on the Dewar Valley Council for the use of the Boyer Oval, and the Mayor is going to get a gumboots and shovel out next week and start doing a bit of work over on. Didn't you know that?
No, not next week.
The week after. She's going to paint the grandstand, she's going to put new seats in, she's going to terrace it, she's going to plant flowers. What else are you going to do?
I'm going to build a women's change room.
Hey!
Thank you for having. Wow, that's loud. Amazing to see so many families here, and amazing to hear this history. They're so beautifully presented, aren't they? Just incredible. So who's responsible for the actual presentation? Matthew Smith.
And Kerry Ramsey.
And Kerry? Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I think a big round of applause for the presentation. Lots happening in our state at the moment. I don't think any of us know what the answers will be. I think we're all desperately hopeful that we end up with a team. I definitely am. And as far as encouraging local goes, I believe that the building of these new change rooms for everybody, the sprucing up of the top level of the grandstand, continued advocacy to get some proper seating down the bottom, because that looks pretty ordinary at the moment, and just supporting each other and getting the young ones in. I think that's where we're at the moment. But honestly, I think we're at the beginning of a great new era. With this new team, I think we'll have that local buy-in from the young ones, and I think we've just got to be ready for that to come through, because I reckon 20, 30 years from now, we'll have a lot more of these on the wall. So, congratulations, and to the future.
Thank you for your support, Mayor. I must say that the Mayor has been very helpful with us getting things up and running. It's been a long time coming as far as the change rooms are concerned, but we're hoping the Mayor, with her influence and a new pair of gumboots that we're going to present her with, she'll get some work done. If there's anyone else that would like to say anything before we wrap up, Patron, would you like to close? Now, have you ever seen a politician that would never come to the microphone?
No, I'd just like to echo the words. I think it's been really good for the club to see so many people that have turned up. Some real club legends here too. Some great stories from the past. I reckon will be. Stephen Dixon started it off, so that's going to keep rolling through the afternoon. So I think it's really important. on the thing over at the Oval, it's strong clubs, strong communities, and this club has always been a very strong club and a very strong part of the community. So we've all got to make sure that it's strong into the future. And thank you for coming today.
Thanks, Craig. One last thing. There was a lady that sent me a little note during the week, and she said that she'd found something in a treasure trove that reminds me that there must be a huge amount of memorabilia that's out there regarding this club. I know that Roger Green has got a lot that we're going to go and have a look at. You go around to some of the sporting clubs around the countryside, and you always see a nice showcase with little bits of memorabilia. And thanks to Adi Graham and his team up here, the cups are back in here where they should be. But this lady gave me a 1959 a club, 1959, and some of the names on there, you got Noel Clark, Lynn Harris, Rex Garwood, Biv Eisel, Paul, Candles Thompson, Donny Hume, Tony Walsh, Lynn Harris, Bill Giles, Ivo Brown, Graham Hanlon, Rusty Davies, Paul Plunkett, Kenny Latham, Claridge, Smythe, Ackley, Moles, Smith, Bauman and Young. Now, these are history, 1959, so we do go back a long way. We're 1878, that was when the club was formed. So I'd ask that if there's any memorabilia kicking around in your shed or in your bottom drawer, these are the sorts of things that we want to display here and shows the history of the club. So thanks very much to that lady who donated that to us. That'll be in the trophy room or the pool room or whatever we're going to call this thing. But any memorabilia we've got in future, we're more than happy to take it on board here. I'd like to wrap up by thanking you all again for your attendance. It's been great to see all the numbers here, great to see the supporters, family of those that have been recognised. I think it's very important, and see some of the old stages like Mr. Watson over there. I want you to pick his brains about how we got on in the early days and how he recruited players and did all sorts of things behind the scenes to make our club great. So on that note, I'd like to close the proceedings and thank you all very much for coming. It's been a great day.